Hello, my name is Rudraksh and welcome to the code explanation of full web API. Now I am explaining the map controller.cs file. Let's begin by understanding the structure of our map controller. It's a part of the full web API namespace and inherits from the controller base class, as you can see here. As you can see, we have defined some routes for our controller. The base route for our map related endpoint is /API/maps. Now let's break down each of the endpoints in the controller and see what they do. The first endpoint is a get request to /API/maps which returns all maps stored in our application. Moving on to the next endpoint, here we have a get request to /API/maps square which return maps that have the same number of rows and columns. Now let's explore how we can retrieve a map by ID. The endpoint accepts a get request with an ID parameter and returns the map corresponding to that ID if it exists. But if we want to add a new map to our collection, the endpoint handles post request to API maps. It allows us to add a new map to our collection. Moving on to updating existing map. Here we put a request API maps put ID. It updates the map with the specified ID with the provided data. Lastly, let's see how we can delete a map. This endpoint handles delete request to API maps ID. It removes the map with the specified ID from a collection. Finally, let's check if a coordinate is valid on a specific map. The endpoint accepts a get request with a map ID and coordinates and check if the given coordinate within the map the boundaries of the map. We have covered all the endpoints in the map controller field. Let's move on to robot controller.cs file. In this file, we have a purpose of understanding of robot controller. It's responsible for handling various commands that a robot can execute. As you can see, we have defined groups of the controller under API slash robot commands. Now let's dive into each of the inputs in our robot controller and see what they do. First, the endpoint is get request to API robot command which returns all the available robots commands. Next, let's see how we can retrieve a specific command by its ID. This endpoint accepts a get request with an ID parameter and returns the command corresponding to that ID if it exists. But if we only want to get commands related to the movement, here we get a request API robot command move, which returns only commands related to movement. Now let's show how we can add a new command. This endpoint handles post request to API robot command. It allows us to add a new command to a connection. Moving on to updating existing command. Here we have a put request to API robot command ID. It updates the command with the specified ID with the provided data. Let's see how we can delete a command. This endpoint handles delete request to API robot commands ID. It removes the command with the specified ID from our collection. Now moving on to the file map.cs. In this, the map class is a simple representation of a map object in our application. It contains various properties that describe the characteristics of a map. Let's break down each property and understand its role in our map class. First, we have the ID property, which uniquely identifies each map object. Next, we have the column and rows properties, which represent the dimensions of the map. Then we have the name property, which stores the name of the map. The description property is optional and allows for a brief description of the map. Moving on, we have the created data and the modified data properties to store the timestamps indicating when the map was created and the last modified. Now let's take a look at the constructor of the map class. The constructor initializes all the properties of the map object with the provided values, and that's a brief overview of the map class. It provides a blueprint for creating map objects in our application with essential properties such as dimensions, name, and timestamp. I hope you find this interesting. Now moving on to program.ps5. Here we start by creating a builder using the web application create builder method. The builder provides us with a convenient way to configure our application. Next, we add service to the container using the add controllers method. This method registers controller as service in the dependency injection container. After setting up our service, we build the application using the build method. This method finalizes the application configuration and prepare it for execution. Moving on to the configuration, the HTTP request pipeline. We first check if the application is running in the development environment. If it is, we enable the developer execution page using use developer exception page. The page provides detailed error information during development to aid in debugging. Next, we enable HTTPS redirection using use HTTPS redirection. This middleware automatically redirects HTTP requests to HTTPS to ensure secure communication. We then enable authorization using use unauthorization. This middleware adds authentication and authorization capabilities to our application. Finally, we map controller to routes using map controllers. This method sets up routing for our API controllers, and that's a wrap. Now we will move on to robot command.cs file. I will explain robot command.cs file. In the robot command class represent a command that a robot can execute. It contains properties defining the characteristics of a command. Let's break down each property and understand its role in robot command class. First, we have the ID property, which uniquely identifies each command object. Next, we have the name property, which stores the name of the command. The description property is optional and allows for a description of the command. The isMove command property indicates whether the command is related to movement. Then we have the created data and the modified data properties, which stores the timestamps indicating when the command was created and last modified respectively. Now let's take a look at the constructor of the robot command class. The constructor initializes all the properties of the robot command object with the provide values, and that's a brief overview of the robot command. Now I have explained all the codes. Thank you.
My name is Rudraksh and I'm giving the demonstration of full web API. So this is the output and now I'm running the code by the command.net run and the port is 5282. I'll paste it in Postman like this and I'll now run the commands of maps. This is API/maps. I'll copy it and like this. Now I'll send it and this is my IDs 1, 2 and 3 that are stored in API/maps. Now I'll put the command /square and you can see my columns and rows are same, that is 10, 10, 30, 30 for the API/map/square command. These are the IDs. Now I'll get the third ID that has column and rows same that we did for the square command. Now as you can see my fourth ID is not in it, so it said not found. Now I'll post it. First I will copy the id one so I can post it in the body. I'll go in the body, make it raw, and include JSON file and paste it. I'll change the ID, delete the ID so it can pick it up by itself. Change column and rows, and we can also change name and description, and we will delete create data and modify date so it can also pick up by itself. I'll send it. As you can see, my new ID is created, and here it is created. You can see column and rows are same as above. I'll use the put command. For the ID 4, I am using the put command for the ID 4, changing columns and rows, and name mapping. Now I'll send it. To check it, we will get the command, and as you can see, the ID column and rows and name got updated. Now I will use the coordinate command. I'll use the coordinate command on ID 4, and that ranges from 20 to 60. Now I'll define the range. As you can see here, that's how we define coordinate command. Now I'll put the coordinates inside the range and it come true. Now I will put the coordinates outside the range. Now it should come false. Let's see what happens. Send it, and here you can see it come false. Now I'll delete. I delete the ID number 4, and to check it we will get the command, and after sending it, as you can see, ID number 4 got deleted. Now I'll do the same for robot slash commands. Send it. Here are the IDs. I'll move the robot. These are the move command, and now I'll copy the ID number 1 and post it in that we did previously in maps. Delete the ID, change the name description, and delete the created data and modified data as it picks up it itself. Now I'll send it. As you can see, it is changed with new ID, that is 6. I'll put the command so I can make changes in ID number 6. I'll copy the ID number 6 and put in the body. Now I'll make some changes. Hello. After making some changes, I'll send the command. To check it, we will get the command and send it. Oh, yeah. Now as you can see, ID number 6 got updated. Thank you. Oh, one more command is left, that is delete. I'll delete the 6th command that I changed, and to see will use the get command. Send it. As you can see, 6th got deleted. Thank you.